His name is Rodney Glasgow, and he has been in the industry for fucking years. I mean, I don't know if he was an intern or VP initially with Atlantic Records or something to that correlation, but he was tapped in with a lot of labels working around them. He also discovered, I believe, Alice in Chains. People don't know that. He was actually one of the first people that discovered Alice in Chains at a bar in New York City when they were nobody. So I got to meet him. He's retired, so he doesn't do that shit anymore, but he wanted to get back into the game when he heard about Prezi working with me. So I visited him in his apartment. He's got like a Cardi B plaque for, invasion of privacy, a bunch of shit. And I just played beats. I brought my boy AJ with me as well. AJels, shout out my boy AJels. And we just played beats for him and, talk about ideas. And he literally just off rip just wanted to help us.
Someone is thinking that they could come in once a week and do a little something and then come back another week later, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna get nice like that, basically.
Yeah, I think if you're very basic to your approach of like making music, you're not gonna be the best. I mean,
you're not gonna elevate, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think if you're being very minimalistic with your schedule and maybe you're practicing what you do once a week, maybe you make a song once a week, you're not really going to advance unless you're taking more time out of your weeks to advance. So yeah, the less that you do it, the least of talent you're going to have, I feel like. Maybe, I don't know.
Would you
if people are gifted.
If someone is super serious about it, would you tell someone take that risk, quit that job and do what you love?
Fuck yeah. Oh, 100,000%. 100,000%. Because you're going to sit there wasting all this time thinking what you want to do rather than just going to do it. Like, the job is important to keep you afloat. Utilize that shit and put that money into yourself to benefit for your future. Like, it's kind of like it's like investing in stocks. Like, you're gonna sit there and invest an X amount of money into Bitcoin. Hopefully in the next couple of years it pops off. Same deal. You're gonna invest a couple $1,000s into some good studio gear. You put the work in for it. You're gonna get better, and hopefully you get somewhere with it.
What would you say? What would you say throughout? Again, like, we're sticking to those first years, man. What was your main motivation and inspiration, man?
For music specifically?
Yeah.
Main motivation. That's a really good question.
Would you say it was the fact that you wanted to get as nice as possible, man? Like, that was your main motivation, man?
Yeah, I would say so. I think the consistent obsession with just wanting to be better was just kind of like my go-to. It's like kind of like when you play basketball in sports, like you just want to keep hitting the court and just doing you. I think that was definitely like one of my main obsessive like motivations. On top of that, like, people also just gas me up because people like my beats. So like when people would say like your shit's fire, like that would just give me confidence to go back and make more. So that motivated me a lot. Yeah, those are definitely like the top two for sure.
What would you say to someone that's constantly looking for that external like motivation and inspiration, man? Like someone, oh, I need to fall in love, or oh, I need to like what I'm saying, do this or do that, man. Like, what would you say to people like that, man?
Find the motivation within yourself first, and let yourself try to shine through first in your own abilities and kind of challenge yourself. And if people around you fuck with it and, give you good props and like make you feel good about yourself and keep it honest with you, then utilize what they give you to motivate yourself as well, for sure. But definitely start with yourself first. I feel like if you can be self-motivated, you can do anything.
That's a dope answer, man. During those first years, did you did you have like a girlfriend? Did you fall in love? Did you have love interest? Like I'm trying to figure out how that can correlate with a young producer's journey, man.
Dude, I fucking was like, I wasn't like going crazy on hoes or nothing like that. I was like, I'm very monogamous as it is. But yeah, no, I definitely through that entire time making beats, I definitely did have like a girlfriend or two for sure. I was I think what was it, like sophomore year, I had like a good girlfriend for like a solid piece of time. And then like junior year, I was dating somebody for a minute. I hate that bitch. Who else though? Who else? I think there was maybe one other girl that I dated towards the end of senior year, and that was it. So probably like really solid, like 3 girls I had through high school while I was cooking beats that I had on top of that. And there was times I made, you know what I'm saying, some beats and caterance to how I felt about
That's
them, you
why
know.
I'm asking, man. That's
Yeah,
exactly why I'm asking. My question is,
yeah.
to my second part to the question is it a plus to go through something like that when you're making music, like to have those, you know what I'm saying, relationships and love interests and all of that? Like, is it a plus or is it a minus?
It's it depends on the girl. I'm gonna be so honest. It's like if you got a shorty that is super clingy and like obviously dedicated to you, hopefully, but can take away and kind of like get in your head more about your music, then it might not be good to have somebody like that. But if you got a girl that really appreciates what you do, your music, and likes you as a person and like your personality, what you bring to the table and like how you do it for yourself, like having a girl like that can really help out with your music and make your music better for sure. Encourage you. That could be a motivational standpoint for people. Like, my girl loves my music. It motivates me to make music too. Like, it just all depends on like who you date and who you are, for sure.
Because this is a tricky thing, man. And this, when I was coming up, like this was always the question amongst like my homies, man.
Yeah.
Do you get a girl like that's down with you, and then once you blow up, you know that she's true,
She.
or or you blow up and then you find a shorty, but then you don't know, is that shorty with you for the bread, for your
Mm-hmm.
name, for this, for that? Like, what would be better, do you think? Because
Yeah.
while the first option sounds really good,
Yeah.
you have to remember you're focused, you're grinding. So that means not 100% of your time can you give to that significant other, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, this
So
is such a good question. I love this. So the first option obviously sounds better because you're in your earliest stages, right? Here's my way of thinking about it. So when you're in your earliest stages, it's a little bit easier to find a girl early on when you're developing, because she's going to know where you came from and why you're going to where you need to go. Whereas when you're kind of famous, or you have a public eye against you, or you have all this money and power, whatever you might got, you have all these things, it might be a little bit harder for you to kind of find a woman that's, relatively understanding towards your bracket, because they
mm,
didn't see the whole journey that you took to get where you're at. But there are chances out there in women that, have similar career ideals, do their own kind of version of like being creative, or like maybe they do, I don't know, maybe they do hairdressing and they want to be their own boss, like, lady, whatever they want to do. So, uh, in my opinion, I think maybe like starting off and finding somebody early on would be good. And that's if you want to pursue having a girlfriend. Me personally, I don't have one right now because I haven't really given it much thought. I mean, I just haven't really been pursuing much, just on my own terms. And plus, like, I've had my own fair shares of tragic relationships, unfortunately. But and that were relatively recent. But uh I've just realized, like, sometimes staying solo is definitely healthier than getting in. But if you can find somebody that wants to embrace what you do when you get in, keep that motherfucking girl.
mm,
Please keep
that's
that girl. Because I had one and I lost her, and she embraced everything I did. And I let her go because I was too caught up and I wasn't trying to put all this weight of stress on her, and I lost her. So that
Hold up, man. Talk about that, man. I did ask you. I did ask you before the interview. Is there anything you don't want me to ask, man? You
we
said
can get
no.
deep. We can talk about
I
it.
gotta know, man. I
There
definitely
was
gotta know. What happened, man?
cool.
I
So
want I want to know those two instances, because one you said was tragic and the other one you let go yourself. I want to know both of them, man.
so the last one I let go myself of, but the one before that was tragic. So I'll start with the tragic one. The first girl I dated, I can't say her name, but she knows who she is. I dated her for a really good amount of time, and she was in college. And at the time, like, she was kind of like, because I'll be honest, before she came in the picture, everything before that high school shit to me was puppy love and just like I'm feeling my preferences out. I'm exploring and I'm trying to figure out what I like, what types of people engage with me, who kind of makes sense. Da, da, da. So I found this girl and we dated for, I'm going to say about like a solid like 9, 10 months, maybe a little bit less. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. But she was in college and she had a lot going on with herself. You know, she was focusing on her classes, her schooling. You know, she was I think she was in and out of jobs. Specifically, I don't remember what she was in. I think one of them was Trader Joe's or something like that. But she was kind of in and out of jobs, and she was trying to figure herself out and all of that stuff. But on top of that, she was catering to having me around. You know, whereas like me, I was doing music, and keep in mind during this era of time, my studio stuff wasn't going as good as it decently is now.
Mhm.
So I was kind of like in the same boat where I was figuring things out for myself. Like, who the fuck am I musically? I basically had an identity crisis, is what happened. Because I had taken all this time, I had a girl on the side, I was making music that I didn't fucking like. I was just making it to make it. And, you know, honestly, I was a whole other different person. I didn't recognize myself. So, like, once that whole era happened, my ass just couldn't hold on to her and keep her around because I was stressing myself out enough to the point where like I didn't want her to add her into that and her be a part of that. So I wanted to spare her a lot of the bullshit I was dealing with. And I had to let her go specifically to just figure out who the fuck I am and what I wanted to do with myself musically, where I wanted to see myself. And, you know, having a girl, I mean, at the end of the day, too, can be mentally taxing for people that can't handle it, you know. And me, she wasn't, by the way, she never stressed me, by the way. Like, I'll just get that out of the way. She never stressed me or like gave me bad omens. Like, she was always supportive. She was there when I was really fucking upset with myself. Like, she was an ROD. And I mean, my ass was just so caught up in all the bullshit that I let her go because I didn't want to stress her out and like, you know, taint her spirit, I guess you could say. And I fucking regret that shit because she
I
stuck
was
around
gonna
for me.
I was gonna ask you that, man, because you do call it tragic. So looking back now, you regret it?
Oh my God, yeah. 100%. 100%. I totally agree. But I will say this too. As much as I regret how I ended it. Not the fact that it ended, but how I ended it. Like this girl really bought me like tickets on my birthday to go to New York and see one of the biggest Madison Square Garden concerts, and I told her I can't take them. I can't accept that. It's this shit's just too much. Like I sat there in the middle of the train station, just fucked up about it, and that sucks. It's one of my worst memories. Like I hate that shit. But it was more of just how I ended it rather than like why it ended, I guess. Um, it was just like I kind of just did it out of nowhere and it was very quick thinking. I didn't think long term and I was scared. I was scared as fuck. Like I was so terrified of the idea of like possibly tainting somebody else's spirit with my bullshit that I just wanted to cancel out everything and just crunch up and hide,
That's
you know?
cool. That's cool. You recognize this. I'm a sidestep a little bit and just speak from experience. And this is to all of y'all that might think the same way, because I know I've been in that place in life when I thought exactly the same thing. Listen, man, remember this. Don't ever think that you can make a decision for someone else, man. You know what I'm saying? If that girl is gonna have enough of you, she's gonna let you know herself. Don't think that you know what's best for her because you're screwed up and this and that. Like, if a shorty's with
Right.
you and she's grinding it out, trust me, man, she knows what she's doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't
Yeah.
ever think, oh, I'm gonna spare her and it's better for her and this and that. Like, all of that shit is BS, man. That's basically you internally, you're being selfish, you're being scared, man. And I'm
Right.
glad that you admitted that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's a real, like, real man shit of you to do, is to admit it, man.
Yeah.
But just a quick side step, man. Don't ever make that decision for someone else, man.
You're right. 100%. And that's like, I realized that like a couple months after the breakup that we had, and I was just like, damn, why the fuck did I do that? Like, I could have went about that so much better, you know. And if maybe my situation ended up becoming taxing on her, you know, if she would have told me, if it did, which it didn't, but if it did, you know, I would have far preferred to see her come out and tell me that rather than me make the decision to just go bye-byes, you
Listen,
know, because
women are tough, bro. Women are tough. You'd be
oh my God.
surprised, bro. Like, this is why the universe, God, evolution, call it whatever you want, gave them the job to have babies, bro. Like,
Yeah.
women are tough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes when men, when we're constipated, man, we're screaming on the toilet and they,
Constipated.
yeah, and they, like, we're screaming and crying on the toilet, and yeah, and they be pushing out a whole head out of them, bro. So
Yeah.
women are tough, bro. Like, man,
You're totally right, man.
we could never do that, bro. So,
Bro,
well, don't ever think like, you know what I mean? Don't ever think like,
you said it so good with that. That's
for
awesome.
real, but don't ever think that, you know what I'm saying, that you're making this like, don't ever make a decision for a woman, man. Like, women are super tough. Sometimes I think, like, how is my wife putting up with the shit that she's putting up with? But it's because they're so tough, man.
Yeah, man.
Um,
My
so
last girl was a tough cookie. She was awesome. And it's
so
good too because sorry to cut you off, but we ended once we ended what we did, we kind of revisited each other a couple of months after and we talked about it. And I don't see her a lot, but now we're really, really tight friends.
you're
And
talking
there's
about
no
the tragic one.
yes, yes. I
Oh,
still talk to her
wow.
from time to time, and we're actually we're very good with each other. Like there's no bad or weird energy. Like she loves hitting me up about concerts and showing me stuff about music and stuff because like she knows how much I love it. And she's got a great spirit. She knows who she is for sure.
I think this is so important. What are you going through mentally at that time that made you think all of these things? You kind of mentioned identity crisis. What did you mean by that, man?
So when I dated this girl, it was like a year or two after the thing with my dad happened.
Mm,
So that alone fucked up my brain and self and the idea of life and just like anything goes. You know what I'm saying? So my brain was just not in the right place. It was in a very deep, dark, depressing kind of state of mind. I was genuinely just kind of lost about music and like, you know, why I was doing music. And, you know, there was a lot of overthinking that kind of came with that whole era of time too, where I was just like, you know, going through the midst of it all. But that's the thing though, she was around through all of that. So she kept me balanced. So I'm
mm.
really thankful for her to be around, like for her being around for that. And yeah, I was lost in my head. I didn't know what music I liked. I didn't know if rap was even worth it. I was starting to just fall out of love with rap music and music fucking period. And I think I don't know. I'd have to really go back and try to figure out when the turning point was where the light switch came back on. But that whole era was just very, very depressing for me. So
Did you really have moments where you thought of quitting
yeah.
music altogether? Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah, because I was so stressed out about the future. That was the big one. I was so in my head, I was so worried about the idea of the future being uncertain because
Mm.
I've always been a very in control person. Like I like to know what to expect, when to expect. I'm very like meticulous. I don't know if meticulous is the right word, but like I'm very like this.
It's a good
And
word.
yeah. And I realized like worrying about that so much was exactly why I was stressing, was because I wasn't allowing myself to just journey
Mm,
rather than planning journey. Does that make sense? Like,
that's beautiful, man. That's really important, man.
yeah. And I was so fucking worried about like motherfuckers saying to me at the labels, "Oh, you only got till you're 30 and then you out of this game." You know, rap, fucking whatever genre you're in. Once you pass 30, you're nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like all this bullshit that was getting in my head. Like I had to travel for fucking sessions I didn't even want to do with people I didn't even want to work with. You know what I'm saying? Like just fucking tons of crap. And
So
I just didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing and why I was doing it. You know?
how would you say you got through that mental state, man? What helped you, man?
I looked at myself and I decided that it was time I was honest with myself. You know, I wasn't honest with myself for a lot of the years that I made music. I looked back at my catalog. I listened to my catalog. I went in my hard drive and made a folder of all the beats that I thought made sense to me. The music that actually I felt something from, you know,
Mm,
that I made. And then I looked at that compared to the hard drive full of the other shit. And I was like, what? Like, whoa, that's crazy. Like 100 against 1,000, that's kind of fucking psycho. And you know, I was honest with myself. I looked at myself in the mirror for a long time and said, like, you know, is this the music that I want to be remembered for? Like that I have, is this
wow,
version of myself the version that I want to be remembered for? You know,
wow,
do I want to be remembered as the guy that's, you know, super overweight, you know, not hitting the gym, just wilding out beats at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, losing sleep, not motivating himself, not being motivated to do anything. And keep in mind too, I'm not perfect. I actually still struggle with some of this stuff today.
mm,
You know, I'm not completely out of the loop, but I've gotten a lot better. And I know progress is slow. So we're going to keep going with that. But yeah, and then I think once I was honest with myself and what music I liked and who I was, that's when I realized it was the band for me.
wow,
That's when I said, okay, it's punk music, it's hardcore. That's the core foundation of what's in here. Like
wow.
rap was a part of it, but that came later. What started with me was my dad, my mother, the music I listened to, the instruments, that's who I am.
That's so
And
dope.
once I was honest to myself about that, I started obsessing over it again. I said, you know what? Let's try making rock music. Let's try to produce. Who produces rock and hardcore and metal on FL Studio?
Wow,
Nobody that I know of, at least.
wow.
Let's try that. Let's, you know, and then as soon as I started doing that shit, it's like that little fucking hole or
Spark,
that hole,
right?
it's like the hole's getting full again and you're getting fulfilled. You're
Wow,
starting to get happier. You're starting to being honest with yourself and about who you are is going to make your life so genuinely happy. It doesn't take money to do it. It doesn't take people to do it. It takes you to do it. You just got to be willing. I swear to God.
I think you said something so crucial and so freaking important, man. When you said, I asked myself, what kind of music do I want to be remembered for, man?
Mhm.
I think this is such a importantly crucial question, man. And if you're into art and whatever you do in life, man,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And you really want to pursue this and you really want to make a life out of this, man. This is a crucial question, man.
Yeah.
That's freaking beautiful, man. Congratulations on overcoming that. But I
Thank you.
also I also think that it's a very important step in a developing artist, man.
Mhm.
Is to sometimes hit that rock bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
In order to realize what you realized,
Yeah.
because sometimes if you don't hit that rock bottom, man, you're going for 10, 15 years and you're doing at the end of the 15 years, you're looking back and you're thinking like, yo, what is this, man? Like
Right.
this is not even me, bro. Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
yeah, that's crazy, man. You said,
And here was another thing too. Sorry to cut you off right there, but another thing too I realized was like I was so scared to come out and be myself
Wow.
all these years. And that was something that I realized from school, from being around with my friends, being influenced by everybody else. And that's what caused me to make a lot of the music that I did that wasn't so much as me to begin with. It was stepping stones. I feel like that whole era of me not being myself was practice. Now it's like we're balling and it's game time. You
Mm,
feel me? Like it's time for the championships, you
wow.
know? And like I was so scared to just come out and tell people like, yeah, I'm a metalhead at heart. I'm a punk head. I love hardcore music. I love aggressive energy. I love kids flipping on people and fucking throwing their
Yeah.
hands, stage diving and screaming their heads out like to the lyrics because they feel that shit. Like
Yeah.
I love that shit, you
Yeah.
know, and just good energy no matter what it is. And that's just what I represent. As much as I do represent hip hop too, hip hop is a part of me, and that's another thing I love. Like I love being catered to multiple sides of the spectrum.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I think we have to stop putting ourselves into like these categories, man, because you're probably one of those people that proves it the best, man. That you could be a true hip hop head and you could be a true metal head, man. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. You know what I'm
Fuck yeah,
saying? That's
fuck.
that's that's beautiful. That's what makes this world go round, man. Is people like you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I look up to people like Rick Rubin, man. Like nowadays, like I really went to Rick Rubin's
yeah,
catalog.
yeah.
You look at him with Slipknot and even Run DMC or like whoever I forget who he worked with. It
Look,
was
look, 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 look at Beastie Boys, man.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Those cats, like they were coming at a time where it was considered the beginning of the golden era of hip hop,
yeah,
and they sounded completely different, man. Like the, they were these kids from Brooklyn, man, that did hip hop but did punk at the same time.
so fire.
And they weren't afraid to be punk. You know what I'm saying? They weren't afraid to say like this is who we are. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's beautiful, man.
Same,
And
most
and you
definitely.
yet again you touched on something super important, man, because when we're dolo and we're by ourselves, it's so easy to be true to yourself. But
Mhm.
when you're out in the world and society is all around you, man, this is when we get lost and we, you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
and we
Yep.
cater to this one and to that one and this and that, man. So this is how you know you keeping it funky with yourself, man, is
Fuck
when
yeah.
you as is when you're outside and you're still keeping it true to yourself, man.
Facts.
That's when
That's a
you keeping
fact
it
right there.
funky to yourself. And I think that will always pay off. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that will always pay off. And the true ones will stay and the fake ones will fall, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You don't want someone to love you for the facade. You want for someone to love you for who you truly are, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's cool too because like a lot of the times I felt like I wanted to come out even to my friends about it. Like I never told my friends I was a rock and metalhead until like last year, like probably like the middle of last year. And it's so fucking stupid because like all these years I kept thinking, oh, they're gonna fucking roast me. They're gonna hate me. They're gonna think I'm retarded. Why are you wasting your time on it? And
Mm,
then as soon as I open up to them, they're like, that's fucking sick.
everybody loved it. There you
They
go.
they they still support. You know what I'm saying? Like it might not be their scene, you know what I'm saying? It might not be their preference, but they respect it enough and think it's great that that's who I am because I'm not hiding that. You
Exactly.
know? I encourage
Exactly.
everybody to just always be yourself, man. I
Yeah.
had such a problem with finding who I was simply because I wasn't embracing who I was.
Yeah, and you gotta think, man, that to be honest, man, like real true music will always outlast everything. And this is why we've had so many different Lil Pumps, but there's only but
Fact.
there's only one Tupac, there's only one Biggie. You know what I'm saying? That
All day.
people, you know what I mean, that people will appreciate for years and years on, man. So what I wanted to ask is the last relationship. I forget exactly how you called it, man, but so after the tragic one, it was the other one, man. So what happened to the other one, man?
Man, God, I hope she doesn't see this because she's gonna fucking roast me. But if I could, oh God, All right, so
Oh, man.
it was short. It was very short. My most recent relationship, and simply put, she was just not my type. It's like she had, in my standpoint, she had red flags that I overlooked. And people tend to do that. A lot of people tend to overlook red flags early on, thinking that, oh, they'll never come back. They won't bite me in the ass. Like it's just a facade. Like, yeah, I like her. She cute, la la la. And then a couple months later, she reveals herself, and you're like, but yeah. So I overlooked what she had going on with herself and what she represented in a lot of different corners, politically, morally, her career, things like that. And simply put, she just wasn't my type. She wasn't for me, and it was probably my most different relationship I started to try to pursue out of everybody else that I had. But it was definitely one of the most important ones, because that last relationship made me realize what I really want to need. That was the turning point for, like, just what I look for in a girl. Because beforehand, I didn't really look for anything. I looked for just whatever came my way. If the natural connection was natural, you
Mhm.
know what I mean. If it made sense. Um, my last relationship made me realize, like, you know who I am and what I need, out of somebody, and hopefully that makes sense to somebody that I
Yeah,
find, or they find me.
yeah, because you seen what you don't want. You know what I'm saying?
Bingo!
That's the quickest way of finding out what you do want.
Bingo!
That's crazy.
Straight up.
So
Straight like
so
that.
why do you think you don't rekindle the one with the that you call tragic, man? Why don't you ever try to like that sounds like it was a good
Well,
fit for you, man. Like why
it
not?
was, but she changed as not a person, but just like certain things. I don't want to say it necessarily, but certain things about her changed, and she ended up finding a new man's anyways.
Okay.
And I'll be so honest, like, as much as I did have that really intimate connection with her, I've kind of moved away from that phase of life, and, like, I really don't try to double back. I mean,
Yeah.
typically, if I end something, like, it ended for a reason. If it makes its way back to me through the universe, or like something about me needs to go back to it, I'll try to take it there. But right now I'm in a space where, like, I just don't need to go back to it. And she's really happy with her new guy, and I'm proud. I'm really happy to see her happy. No matter what the station, is, no matter what. I got to show love. As much as I'm from the outsides and I'm an ex, I'm always going to be very kind and supportive to whoever, my exes are dating, or who they choose to go do life with. Life
I,
is life.
I think DMX said it best, man. He said, "If you love something, let it go, and if it come
Yeah,
back to you, it's yours,
exactly.
and if it don't, it never was." Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
dog.
Fucking dude, DMX is awesome, man. That is a fact right there. That's life.
He
That is
said,
life
"Love
advice.
something, let it go, and if it comes back to you, it's yours, and if it
Your
don't, it
your
never
voice is
was."
crazy. Yeah, your voice is crazy.
Word. So that's so true, man. I think, you know what I'm saying, if you truly, you know what I'm saying, love and care for someone, sometimes you need to let it go. And if it comes back to you, it's yours. And if it don't, it never was, man.
That's a
So
fact.
that's cool that you showing her love and everything like that. And you appreciate that experience, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really not good to, I think, double back in life, man, at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like in Ukraine we say you can never fully glue together a broken vase, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
two people cannot have two different relationships, man.
That's a
Usually,
fact.
you know what I'm saying? So what I wanted to ask you is,
Yeah.
what's up with the whole record deal? This is very important, man. When did that happen in your life? How did that come about? Were you ready for it? Like, how did you feel about it? Like,
This is awesome.
yeah,
It's
take us
a
through that experience, man.
it's a beautiful story, and like I said, everybody that was a part of it, I still am cool with and happy about today. So 2019 initially, senior year for me in high school. my mom at the time was going to be. We have this thing at Pennsbury High School. It's called the best prom in America, and we are known in the country for throwing the craziest prom in
Oh, wow.
America.
Wow.
We actually book artists for our prom. Like we booked Pauly D, we booked Designer, we
Wow.
booked Drake Bell, John Mayer. We booked a lot of major artists, especially for the prom end of it. And my mom at the time was working committee. She was doing like decorating, and she was helping out along with my friend Chase's mother Donna. They were both collectively a unit and helping out with the designing and like just overseeing stuff. And I remember I was at prom with this girl that I just took some random home slice. I think her name was Grace. Yeah, Grace Milazar. Shout out you, Grace. I took her to prom, and fucking I remember my mom finding me in the crowd and running over to me, and she's like, yo, I just met like two really important people backstage. I need you to come with me. I'm like, bye, Grace. I'll talk to you in 10 minutes. I run backstage while I'm in my whole fucking getup and shit. I met two dudes by the name of Antoine Pope and David Montini. They are app developers now, I believe, content creators, and at the time they were like doing something related to music. I forget what it was, whether they were just dot connectors or what it was, but they were backstage, and my specific prom had Designer as the headliner and Pauly D as the opener,
Wow.
which was pretty cool. I have videos of it and everything, and it's on Designer's Instagram, believe it or not.
Crazy.
I think. Don't quote me that, but it was. So anyways, I talked to the two bulls, and my mom was basically leading up to that, telling them about me and me doing music and me making beats and trying to get placements and work with people. And Montini was like, yo, listen, hit me in the DMs tomorrow after you're done after this whole, prom scene shit, and just let's talk it up and I'll see if I can throw you some people. I was like, okay. I literally just wake up the next day. There's like already a DM in my fucking IG of him just saying, hey, what's up? I'm like, yo, he sends me this man by the name of Jay Presney.
Oh,
John, Uptown Harlem represent.
we know who that is, man.
Yeah. So he sends me Jay Prezi, and he tells me, yo, DM him. He's looking for like a producer and shit. Like he's trying to fuck with like new sounds and new people. So I was like, okay. I DM Prezi, and I swear to God, that was like the rest is history. Like him and I just locked in like that. Like he told me, we talked for like a month or so on DM, just doing our thing. And I started sending him beats. I listened to his catalog and what he had, like, him working with Evan Brown, like even before I stepped in the picture. Also working with oh my God, it's this hip hop producer. I can't remember the name of it. I'll find it out later, but he was legendary. He did stuff for Dave East and tons of hip hop New York heads. And eventually it leaded me into taking a train out, and I managed to finally meet him. And we just started working. Like I started going out to the city a ton, just jumping on the fucking train, go grab a chopped cheese at Hodges, you know what I'm saying? And fucking go to his studio down like near his crib and shit. We would just lock in. They'd spark up. We get, fried and whatever. And then he brought his homies, from his block. We'd all be in the crazy studio, just cooking up beats and shit. We had a session. Grandmaster Flash came and visited.
Oh,
I met him for the first time. I shook his hand. The video is on my Instagram, by the way, if y'all want to check it out.
Godfather, man.
The Godfather of hip hop, man. Nobody can fuck it up, man. But I got to meet him and he sat in on a session with us. That was cool. And then we just kept working over time, like same deal, years, whatever. And then like what was 2019? So it was really like the top, if I'm not mistaken, if I get this right, it was like either the end of 2020, maybe the top of 2021. I got introduced to his uncle. His name is Rodney Glaslow, and he has been in the industry for fucking years. I mean, I don't know if he was an intern or VP initially with Atlantic Records or something to that correlation, but he was tapped in with a lot of labels working around them. He also discovered, I believe, Alice in Chains. People don't know that. He was actually one of the first people that discovered Alice in Chains at a bar in New York City when they were nobody. So I got to meet him. He's retired, so he doesn't do that shit anymore, but he wanted to get back into the game when he heard about Prezi working with me. So I visited him in his apartment. he's got like a Cardi B plaque for, invasion of privacy, a bunch of shit.
Mm.
And I just played beats. I brought my boy AJ with me as well. AJ's, shout out my boy AJ's. And we just played beats for him and, talked about ideas. And he literally just off rip just wanted to help us. He's like, yo, I want to try to get you and Prezi like a deal, or like talk it up with people I know. Keep cooking, make demos, send me some demos, and I'll see if I can talk to some people. And we ended up same fucking like X amount of like 2, 3, 4 months. I mean, he got a label meeting by one phone call. He's like, dude, I need you to come to New York City. You're going to meet, Daniel Glass of Glass Note in, New York City. Indie label. They house Mumford and Sons. They house, Dylan Cartledge, fucking like Aurora, like a bunch of crazy, incredible musicians. Indie label as well. They're just partner with people. And yeah, we went to the label meeting. I walked upstairs, took the elevator up with the squad. We went in the room, sat down with them, Jackie Post. Everybody was there, and we just got to conversate and show demos and talk about music. And I signed basically my first publishing deal for like $35K.
So I don't want to skip through this because I think this is very important.
Fuck yeah.
When you first got to the city and you're in a studio having sessions with all of these different people,
Yeah.
did you all of a sudden feel like something has shifted? I'm in a different like spectrum of the game right now. Like you're finally being around like serious artists, people that do this for a living, man. Like,
yeah,
how was that experience? Was that helpful to you?
It definitely was, because it took me out of my comfort zone. I was so used to, being at home and making rap music with my friends. Like I'd never really stepped out. Like a couple of sessions here and there in Philly. Like I work with Bri Greta, that's the little bro. He knows what's up. A couple of different Philly rappers like Rico Havoc. I did some, demos with and shit, all that stuff. But getting out to New York was the first time I traveled like that to like be with some serious people. And it was rejuvenating as fuck. It was inspiring. Like I remember there were times like Prezi's my older brother. He's always going to be an older brother than me. I don't care what it is, man. Like he's awesome. He's got so much knowledge and game to share. Like he's a fucking leader. He's a leader. And he hoops. He's good at hoop. So yeah, I just got so inspired by going there, and I love working with them that I just wanted to keep doing it and doing it more. Like, I don't know.
How was it different like working on someone else's setup, man? Like how was that, man? Because you're used to one thing and then you're in a completely different environment. Like, how was that experience, man? Was that tough or was it like whatever?
It was sometimes it was tough. I mean, there was definitely like a couple of circumstances. I think at different studios, and I had to like try to learn the gear and set up and shit. But for the most part, like studios tend to have an aux cord, and it was just plug and play. Like I'd have my beats loaded up on my laptop in a folder that I'd prerequisite type shit. I'd pre-make it because like you gotta be ahead of the game.
Gotta be ready.
Gotta be war ready, man. War ready for whatever. And I would just plug in the aux and we just play it out and just see what happens. Sometimes there was fucking sessions I played beats and they were like, nah, we need to find something different or just cook something up, on the spot.
So I want to go to that moment when you're in that meeting, man, and that record deal is about to come about, man. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like, damn, like this is it? This is what I wanted. I wanted this. Like I feel like the rock star that I'm supposed to be. Like, take me to that moment, man.
That moment specifically, I was actually very nervous. I was balls to the wall nervous. Like, I don't know what it was. There was just something in my brain that was so exciting about the concept of it. But coming from that whole past of me being so worried about the future, it had me nervous. I was like, dude, like, what could my life turn into? Like, this would be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I actually like, took this to the stars and whatnot, it was wild as shit. So yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking. But when I got through it and I started learning about, what labels do and what they are about and the types of people that exist.
Hold
in
up,
them, like,
hold on. I don't want to get there yet.
Yeah.
I want to stay in this moment for a little bit. Did you have a manager at the time?
Rodney ended up actually being my manager, which was Prezzy's uncle.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
he's in a meeting with you.
Hmm.
Okay. So is he negotiating the deal, or like how is that working?
Yeah, he was very good at negotiating good deals for all of us specifically. Yeah, he's fantastic at what he does. He definitely helped us out. Yeah, he negotiated the majority of it for sure.
And you trusted him completely. So
Absolutely. He hasn't stiffed me or nothing. He's a great guy.
right. So at that first initial meeting, do you sign right away? Like you're like, okay, we'll take it.
Uh, well, once we had that first meeting, that was kind of like the introduction, and then we talked about it separately on the side, where we were just like just all discussing it, talking about our life stanchers and like where we sit with ourselves and like if it's worth it for us, individually, all of us. And once we all kind of just collectively agreed and we shared our thoughts and shit, then we were all on board and we ended up actually getting a signing meeting where we came in, same deal, came upstairs. They had fucking pizza and soda and shit. And yeah, we signed and took pictures and all that shit in the office. Yeah.
As far as your squad, what was when you guys were like talking about this whole thing before signing, what was your deal breaker into having the whole squad like, yeah, this is what we want? Like
As far as
what were you looking to get out of this experience? Was it the money? Was it more exposure? Was it more experience? Like what did you guys kind of consolidate on?
it was kind of everything, I'll be honest, that you just mentioned. It was kind of like a big universal goal. Like we all just wanted to level up as people. Our careers, our finances. We wanted to level up the music itself and get around new people, make more connections, and get out and parties and places we couldn't get to just naturally. So like that was it was everything. It was really a combo of everything. Yeah.
How much did money play into the decision making, man? Like
As
what
far as
like
like how much I cared about it.
was there a number that you guys, because it's not just you got your whole squad. So was there a
Yeah.
number that you guys were looking for like to get?
Well, I think we obviously all think we're worth a lot more, but Rodney kind of put it in a perspective of us based on the fact that we're like we're all very young, but like Prezzy's older, Evan's a little older, but I'm the youngest, and to even have the chance to get a publishing deal just off the rip of you just being talented
Yeah,
is second to fucking none
it is.
nowadays,
Yeah, it
which
is.
is a very big blessing to us, and I'm very
Lottery, man. It's a
grateful.
lotto, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I again, that's another big reason why I was so thankful to do what I did and like get the deal that I got. Um, but yeah, that's yeah.
So you're in the office, you're about to sign. Is it when they mentioned the money for the first time, how much they were going to offer you?
It was what that made me go like, "Oh my god," like, "Oh shit." Like,
No, no, but like was it the first time that they mentioned how much they were gonna pay you? Was it at the signing?
oh god. No, at the signing I don't think they did. Not that I can remember. I think it was the first meeting that we had, like the very first one that we had, we just talked about what everything was about and what they do and the music they host and whatnot. And then once we came back and we like kind of like decision made for ourselves, Rodney started speaking about it to us. And that was kind of where like that was kind of like talked about. And then we signed because
So
we knew what
you
we were getting into.
Yeah, so
What we yeah,
going into the signing, you already knew how much money there was gonna be, right? Okay,
yes,
okay.
for sure, for sure.
And once again, your manager negotiates the whole deal, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the deal? If you could like in brief go over it. What was the like what did they offer you, man? How long? What was it like publishing as far as what? Like what did the deal look like, man?
The deal was very short. It was a publishing development deal. So basically, like from the terms that I got, like, and Rodney really knocked it down for us on a song requirement end of things. Because initially Daniel was going to try to give us a requirement of 5 songs, but Rodney knocked it down to 3 for the whole year, 3 songs
Mhm.
overall. The initial deal was 35K advance. We basically pay you the first half of that up front, wire transfer deposit to your account. Here you go. And then the second half of that, we pay you out in increments over 12 months.
Wait, so
So,
did you I'm sorry for interrupting you. The 35K, did you have to split with the squad, right?
yeah, yes. Well, not the squad. We all got our own deals. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
got a 35K, Prezi got one, Evan got one type shit.
Got
We
you.
all got paid 35K individually each.
Got you.
We
Got you.
didn't split it. It was all we were all on the same team, but we
Right.
all got signed for the same deals
That's
individually.
that's important, man. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So once I got like my first like 17.5 up front, I basically banked that for like a month, and then the increment payments that I got from the whole year that was paying out to me to finish the second half of that, I would have to take chunks of that and give that to my manager for the manager's fee. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Based on the contract terms and Rodney being my manager and helping me out. So I would give him, cuts of that, whatever we did. And it was only, I think, a couple of grand out of that in total. But here's the thing, though, and I got to stress this with you new producers and shit that don't know what they're doing. My ass didn't file my taxes that year, and I was dumb. And well, I mean, I filed it, but my tax guy couldn't file it for some reason. He was in the hospital, and I trusted my accountant, and he fucked me. And it sucks, but during that year that I got all that money up front, I put it in the wrong places. I spent it on the wrong things. And on top of that, I lost out on the tax end of it. So not only I got hit with penalties, the IRS, they came to me a year and a half later. And I'm paying off shit right now still. So I got to stress it. Like when new producers sign, like y'all got to make sure you will know what you're doing. Real shit.
So what would you say? Get an accountant to someone, or like
Get
I
an
don't know.
accountant or just like at least know what you're doing on the tax bracket of things, because like when you sign with people, like number one, the money's not free. It's a bank loan is basically what they get. You're not, it's not free money to sign for the company to work for them. You make it back through all of the work that you do for them. So there's that. And then, especially for the young people that are getting signed, like 16 through 18, that like probably don't even file their taxes. Their mom probably fucking does it. Like making sure your taxes are on point. Everything is reported to the government. Like you do not want to have to fucking owe the government any of your fundings, especially if you sign, take out like 27 to 30% of your bread for taxes, give that to fucking Uncle Sam and take home what you got. I didn't do that and I fucked that up completely.
But
Yeah.
but at this point, it's super hard because like you're a young man, you're
Yeah.
doing what you love.
Yeah.
You finally got some bread for what you love. It's like you want to go dumb, man. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
You want to just bug out.
You bugging out, you running around. Like I think that's normal, man. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people that scream at the young heads, like, oh my God, he's buying $1 million chain. It's like, yo, bro, you probably do the same exact thing if you was in that dude's shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
yeah, especially like you yourself, you come from a blue collar family. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you were swimming in cash your whole life and stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
so it's hard, man. So um how long down the road after signing that deal are you realizing that maybe this wasn't the best route for me, or are you happy the whole time?
It was towards the end of the deal that I realized it wasn't the best route for me. And the reason why is because I initially, being younger, didn't understand publishing for one, what the idea of a publishing deal really was. I didn't read into it too much. And I got the complete wrong idea of what I actually signed in for. And it's so stupid that I like found out later on, so late down the road. But I initially went in with this preconceived notion in my mind that like these people were gonna like throw me bread and I would make them beats, obviously, and I would try to provide all these different pieces of music for them to ship around and get to artists that they knew and stuff. They would set up sessions with me. They try to give me connections and plays as much as I can out in the city for me to come through and like do my thing for. And it really wasn't that. A lot of it was like making songs to provide. Like I was not writing songs as like a singer, you know what I mean, or a rapper like that. Publishing mainly is for songwriters that want to get their pieces of song artist work to bigger artists. That's kind of what it is. Like, for example, you're a songwriter compared to, I'm a producer. I mean, I'm also a songwriter, but you're really a songwriter as an artist. So, like, if you were to make a song that you thought would be amazing for Drake, if you were in a publishing deal, you would give those fucking pieces of work that you made to try to get to Drake for him to use. So that's what it was. I was just making beats at the time. I wasn't in the studio like that a lot. I was only in the studio with Prezi. And the thing that kind of confused the living dick out of me was like, they said that they were going to try to get a lot of people in front of us, at least try to start moving us around with new artists that maybe they had in their connection fields. And I mean, 365 days worth of time, I got 2 sessions and a rooftop party out of my deal, which is, in my opinion, squat. It's squat. As much as it's great, and I am thankful for it, I'm a workaholic. Yeah. I want to be able to actually work and do my thing. And at the end of the day, I personally feel like if we're not at least on your bracket to try to like bring back the priority needs for you guys, it's like you're basically throwing me bread to sit here and make beats. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have a lot of connections as it is, and y'all realize that, right? It's kind of weird. Like, y'all know I don't have a lot of connections and shit. There was only maybe like one little instance of like sessions I couldn't make it for, probably like a week or two's worth of time. Everything else I was open to doing. Any artists to work with, any rappers to work with, any bands to work with. Like, I was willing to do whatever. They were not throwing anything at me. Like, and what I realized is if you're in a publishing deal, you got to have leverage. Number one, you got to have leverage in your own motion. And number two, you got to have your own connections. You can't rely on the label. That's the trick. If you rely on the label completely, you're going to lose, damn it. They got money. That's it. They have connections. They can help you. They can market you. Past that point, though, I mean, it's actually a very big you got to do it kind of game, which I didn't realize.
I'm also sitting here and thinking about it, man. Like, take Kanye, for example. I don't know how much you're familiar with it, with his journey, but Kanye was in Def Jam's or Rockefeller's, I think Rockefeller's basement for like 5 years cooking up, man.
Yeah.
Before like one of the beats got to like what's his name? The cat from Philly, man. Beanie Siegel. And it was that track. I don't know if you know, The Truth. I Am the Truth. Like one of the hardest instrumentals ever made in hip hop. So what I'm trying to say is, my question is, do you think that that's part of the journey? Is sometimes the long, like waiting and grinding and being in a sidelines, kind of waiting for the whole thing? Yes. Like, do you think that that's part of it? And maybe you were just one of those people that said, I don't want to do this like that, man. I'm wasting my time.